Good morning, and welcome to Good News for today, February the 8th. I'm Jean, and this is my maiden voyage as a member of the Good News team. As many of you may know, at the beginning of COVID outbreak, our oldest grandson made his living with his music and his job as an assistant manager in a restaurant. Well, we all know what happened to those two careers. Not being comfortable and not working and accepting government assistance, Marshall took a course to become an arborist. After training, he became certified to be a climber, and he sent me a picture of him high up in a tree and way out on a branch. And I replied to him, "That's what I call going out on a limb." Well, like Marshall, I feel by doing this, I also am a way out on a limb. So here goes. Our reading I have chosen for today is John 7:53 and verses 8, 1 to 11. This follows the story of the scribes and the Pharisees questioning if Jesus could possibly be the real Christ. And the reading begins. Everyone went to his home. But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all the people were coming to him, and he sat down and began to teach them. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman caught in adultery, and having her set in the center of the court, they said to him, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in adultery in the very act. Now in the law Moses commanded us to stone such women, and then, do you say?" They were saying this, testing him so that they might have grounds for accusing him. But Jesus stooped down and with his fingers wrote on the ground. But when they persisted in asking him, he straightened up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw the first stone at her." Again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Now this is a story we've all heard before. The scribes and the Pharisees testing and luring Jesus. How will Jesus respond to this law of Moses, which states that in this situation, stoning should happen? Before I go on, I want to mention that in my research, I found that there is a question as to the placement of this story in John's Gospel. It is omitted in early Greek manuscripts and marked with an asterisk in others. However, it's a story which was included somewhere in the four Gospels. So let's take a look at it by asking some questions which have been asked by some of the commentators. Why was the woman brought before Jesus and not the man? Interesting. Was this a sign of the times, or did these people have a vengeance against this particular woman? Was she set up? This act had to be actually witnessed for someone to be charged, so the punishments rarely were carried out. What a situation this put Jesus in. What were his choices? He really was caught between a rock and a hard place. He couldn't just forgive her, and that would appear that he condoned adultery. He couldn't just ignore the law of Moses and retain a just reputation, and not appear harsh and unloving. Not only that, he couldn't say, "Go ahead and stone her," because he would have broken the Roman law, because they had the right of official execution for religious offenses. When Jesus stooped down to write on the ground, it appeared he was not listening. His response is absolutely amazing and a good lesson for all of us. He without sin, throw the first stone. In other words, judge not, lest you be judged. Something to remember. What good news. He simply said, "Go and sin no more." A lesson for all of us. Before I close with a prayer, I want to thank all of you who have kept our Susan and Robert in your prayers. Robert is getting close to finishing his radiation treatments for the very rare form of cancer formed on the base of his pituitary gland, not treatable with chemo. Their faith is very strong, and they very much appreciate your prayers. And now, if you would, please pray with me. May the light of God illume the hearts of my soul. May the flame of Christ kindle me to love. May the fire of the Spirit free me to live this day and forever. Amen. Thanks for joining me.